I went on down to the Audubon Zoo, and they all masked for you. The monkeys asked and the tigers asked, elephant asked me too. I went on down to the Audubon Zoo, and they all masked for you. The ducks masked and the eagles masked, and the buzzard masked for you too. I went on down to the deep blue sea, where they all masked for me. The whale masked and the shark asked, and the barracuda masked me too. I went on down to the Audubon Zoo, and they all masked for you. The tigers masked and the monkeys masked, and the elephant even masked too.
That was just fun, Sydney. Thank you. Good morning. Happy Independence Day. My name is Robin Carter, and I serve as the president on the Board of Trustees of this Unitarian Universalist Church of Spartanburg. I mean, it's been 4 days, y'all. Okay. I'm honored to serve this beloved community alongside each of you. Welcome, everyone, whether you are here in person or joining us virtually. This is a congregation where everyone is welcome, just as you are. Welcome members, welcome friends, welcome visitors. As things begin to reopen and we navigate this new normal together, communication is critical to keep everyone in the loop of announcements, changes, and upcoming events. Allow me to encourage you all to read your weekly happenings, emailed every Thursday by our assistant minister, notice the title change, Ann Garner. Again, it's been 4 days. And your monthly unison, emailed every first day of the month by Molly Cannon. That means there are likely 2 emails sitting in your inbox right now that are chock full of important information, since the unison and the weekly happenings both were sent on Thursday of last week. Here's just a sampling of a few announcements in the life of our church from those emails. There is no child care service available for today. Children are welcome in the service with parents and are encouraged to wear masks indoors. The playground is open for use before and after the service with parents supervising. The inaugural virtual art exhibit, The Art of Social Justice, sponsored by UUCS, has been posted on Instagram and Facebook today. The purpose of this project is to bring awareness of social justice issues to artists and viewers of the exhibit, and to highlight the talent and skills in the various racial and ethnic communities in our area by the inclusion of a diverse group of artists. The selection committee has chosen art that calls to mind the notion that social justice refers to things that happen to real human beings. We hope that this exhibit will serve to promote understanding and will lead to enhanced justice and more compassionate relationships among us all. The planning group for the Art of Social Justice invites you to view the exhibit, share it within your circles, and we hope you will all find it worthwhile. Lastly, our food barrel has reopened. Now that we are once again in the sanctuary every week, don't forget to donate to the food barrel located just inside the doors to the fellowship hall. This summer, your donations will go to Piedmont Care, which provides HIV/AIDS care, prevention, and advocacy in Spartanburg, Cherokee, and Union counties. Some of the foods needed most are peanut butter, canned or pouched tuna and chicken, nutritional supplements such as Ensure or Carnation Instant Breakfast, and canned goods including pasta sauce. In the fall, we'll resume our usual donations to Total Ministries. This really is an amazing congregation. Thank you for caring for one another and for our community. Thank you for being part of this congregation today.
Thanks for the announcements, Robin. Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spartanburg. We want to welcome everyone in the sanctuary and everybody on our virtual platform this 4th of July 2021 service. May your celebrations be sparkling, and happy 4th to you all. My name's Ruth Stanton, and I am the worship associate today. Our minister, Scott Neely, is out of the pulpit, and we are continuing a new series to reflect on how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected our lives. Last week, we had the story of the Rippling Bowl when it was separated from its people. Today, you have a treat in store with reflections from some of the people who made masks to help prevent the spread of the pandemic. There are some surprising insights from a thing as mundane as making masks. In the upcoming weeks, we'll be hearing from a board and COVID committee member, from parents sailing in the uncharted waters of virtual school and 24/7 parenting, and from some of our youth, what COVID was like for them. So please be sure to come back and join us for all of this. I think it may help you to sort through some of your own experiences. It has been quite the 16 months since we shut down. My co-conspirators today are Naomi Richardson and Alice Sutton, with guidance from Nicole Mathau. We are sharing words of many other mask makers as well. And as an aside, the CDC no longer deems masks necessary for vaccinated folks. However, we do know that not all folks are able to be vaccinated, so at this time, we wear our masks in our larger indoor gatherings as a show of solidarity with them. Now, we have some special music for you. It was created because the South Bay Musical Theater volunteers were stuck at home, they had no costumes to make because of the pandemic, and they decided to sew masks for people in their community. And their marketing director, Doug Hughes, wrote this playful parody of Matchmaker, Matchmaker from Fiddler on the Roof. And he put down in his comments apologies to Jerry Brock and Sheldon Harnick of Fiddler on the Roof. And now for your musical diversion, please travel back with us to the beginning of the pandemic.
Mask maker, make me a mask. I fear that I'm not up to the task. Our show's a no-go, so please sew me a fast. Without it, I'll need a flask. Mask maker, dearie, resources are scarce. Shortages are a pain in the arse. In this pandemic, it's easy to see that we need more PPE. Dr. Fauci, bring me some good news. I'm grouchy and I'm scared as can be. The CDC now wants us to wear masks, and I am not going to disagree. Mask maker, make me a mask. I fear that I'm not up to the task. Take fabric, make magic, and when it's sewn, I'll hand me a mask of my own.
Lighting of the Chalice, The Longing for Something More by Gretchen Haley. Every little thing that breaks your heart is welcome here. We make a space for it, give it its due time and praise, for the wanting it represents, the longing for something more, some healing hope that remains, not yet. We promise no magic, no making it better, but offer only this circle of trust, this human community that remembers, though imperfectly, that sings and prays, though sometimes awkwardly, this gathering that loves, though not enough. We are still practicing, after all, still learning, still in need of help and partners, still becoming able to receive all this beauty and all these gifts we each bring. Come, let us worship together.
As we join in worship, let's consider our covenant. It was written by this congregation to provide practical guidance of how we can live out our beliefs together in our church community and also in our church neighborhood, our city, and the wider world. These words, powerful when they were written, continue to gain strength as we strive to manifest their meaning in the work of our congregation. The words are in the order of service, and for our virtual folks, that is below the live stream of today's service. Let us join our voices and speak the truth of our covenant. We are a people of faith and hope. Together we covenant to strive to become our better selves, to honor both the critical mind and the generous heart, to prove that diversity need not mean divisiveness, and to respond to systems of violence and oppression with the power of a love beyond belief.
From Kathy Dowling. During the pandemic, the sense of separation was often overwhelming. Kathy reflected about making masks. Even in isolation, this activity helps me feel more part of a group, and it is a mindful thing to do. Whenever my mind wanders, I make a mistake, so I am practicing mindfulness.
We're now at the time in our service where traditionally we have greeted each other. And, oh boy, yes. We have had such a long pause in greeting each other face to face, and I think the separation has been hard. The reunions in this past month have been lovely. With the vaccine well, the case numbers are no longer decreasing since I first read this, but things are hopeful. We just have to watch these variants. So let's greet each other mindfully, remembering our safety protocols, ask before physical contact. We've had a lot of suggestions, the bow, the elbow bump, the shalom. And I have one new one to add if you're got your mask on. It's called the eye twinkle. It's especially useful when you're wearing a mask. You know, if you have a group picture of people wearing masks, we all smile anyway. And what that does is it crinkles and twinkles our eyes. So twinkling eyes can count as a greeting as well. If you're participating virtually, please feel free to send someone a text or call a friend a little later, and you can greet each other.
I can do this with this hand.
Yes. Throughout the months of mask making, Alice asked us to reflect on what it means to us in the sewing groups. So these are the words of Palma Eisner. I found that making masks for specific groups and for my family was a way of feeling that I was helping during this difficult time. Even though it was frustrating at times when I had sewing machine issues, I felt like I was making a difference. It uplifted my spirits. Now that I took a break to do things I needed to do around the house, I'm ready to start again.
We are very generous people, and we bring our gifts. And I am continuing to be amazed by all the talents and time that people do bring to our congregation. We have those who create and offer Sunday services, those with pastoral care gifts, our planners, our organizers, our gardeners, our groundskeepers, our folks with a heart for social justice projects. And of course, mask makers who are probably out in a little extra force today. You are all blessings to all of us. We also bring financial gifts, and when you come up to the Rippling Bowl in just a few moments, we invite you to place a financial gift in the offering plate on the chalice table. Or you can visit the website at www.uucs.org. And below the live stream of the service, you will find various ways you can give financially. We welcome your gifts to the church as vital to sustain the work we do to bless this community. Our Rippling Bowl was well cared for this year when we were absent. Stacy Jackson took beautiful photographs of all the natural places it had been, and they are part of the art installation that is on the back wall of the sanctuary. So please enjoy them up close after the service if you haven't already had an opportunity to do that. We now invite you to come forward and place a stone or shell in our rippling water bowl to represent joys and concerns. Joys shared ripple out and seem to multiply, and burdens shared ripple out and seem to lessen. Please come forward if you would like to visit our offering plate and rippling bowl, and I'm going to put a stone in a shell for those joining through our virtual platform as to hold a space for your concerns and joys also.
so kind, can you let down your hand? Can you let down your hand? If you're so kind, if you're so strong, can you shelter the weak? Will you listen as the strangers speak and bring them calm? Kindness doesn't ask for much, but an open mind. And kindness can cure a broken heart. Honey, are you feeling kind? Do you believe in love? Do you believe in love? If you're so kind, can you let down your hand? Will you try and understand when it goes wrong? Days come and gone, and it's been said and done. I will shelter you with my love and my forgiveness. Kindness doesn't ask for much, but an open mind. And kindness can cure a broken heart. Honey, are you feeling kind? Do you believe in love? Do you believe in love? And kindness doesn't ask for much, but an open mind. And kindness can cure a broken heart. Honey, are you feeling kind? Do you believe in love? Do you believe in love?
A reflection from Marion Dannert. As to your question about the mindfulness and spirituality of mask-making practice, I found that early in March of 2020, mask-making became a kind of lifeline for me, a reason to get going each day, a psychological anchor in uncertain time. Physically cut off from my usual community, church, and neighborhood gatherings, and living alone as a widow, making masks became my way of adapting to my new isolation. Creating something of need for others gave me a comfortable sense of purpose, something important to look forward to each day. The possibility that my small efforts might even save a life further encouraged my work. Mask making in this time and place has been a solitary activity. This solitude allowed and provoked thoughts of the lives of those who need these masks, especially those experiencing great need. As the stitching hummed on, my thoughts moved to imagining other ways of meeting critical needs and of creative opportunities for service. We found so many different ways to face this pandemic. Last March, as the pandemic spread across the world, we couldn't imagine how bad it would be, but UUCS and friends faced the pandemic as a community. We posted in the happenings, share your actions, let us know what you are doing to help, making masks, donating supplies, helping neighbors, supporting organizations. We want to create a list of what all of us are doing to help share ideas with one another and to empower each other to act. Even the smallest acts can have a large impact. Send your ideas and actions, and we will share these on our website to encourage and motivate one another. That really worked. We knew we had to follow scientific advice. Doctors and nurses were wearing masks around sick people, but there weren't enough masks for them, and certainly there weren't masks for all the rest of us. Ruth.
So when masks became needed, there were none to buy at the pharmacy or anywhere else. And I had family in Brooklyn, New York City, the epicenter of the pandemic at that time, and they really needed masks. I had some leftover scraps of fabric and some bits of elastic in my home sewing supplies, and I hauled out my old 1972 Singer sewing machine and got going and made masks for folks in New York City and also in Ohio. And the first mask...
Daughter Marlies and mother Joan Fritchie, Joyce Harrison, Ash McNamara, Nicole Matthew, and her granddaughter Callie, Virginia McLean, myself, Ruth Stanton, Pam and Fred Stoll, Alice Sutton, and to the headband team, Nancy Clark, Marilyn Coltrane, Abby Fowler, Nancy Warner, and a delivery person, Lily Lancaster. We used up fabric forgotten in our sewing closets, and we were running out of fabric. So we appealed to you for donations of unused fabric, sheets, etc., and you responded with fabric or cash that we could buy the fabric with. So please raise your hand if you've donated fabric, notions, or cash to make masks. Yay. Even more dire than the lack of fabric was our need for elastic. Suddenly, of course, unavailable all over the world. I don't know what we would have done if Libby Husky hadn't contacted Phoenix Textiles, a company in Landrum, South Carolina. They had been running 24/7 to produce elastic. This textile company generously donated 2 large boxes of elastic to our mask-making group, and later another 2 boxes. Call it a miracle or call it magic, we were very grateful to have it. Please raise your hand, Libby. Is she here? Oh, I'm sorry. We couldn't have done it without her contribution. After the masks were made, they had to be packed, 1 or 2 to a plastic bag with instruction sheets. Susan Griswold did more of this than anyone else. If you helped pack bags, please raise your hand. All right. And if you helped in any way with our year-long mask-making project, please raise your hand again. Everybody.
Everybody's hands up.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Good.
So by May 6, 2020, in the happenings we wrote, "We make masks because your life is worth our time." We've gotten to over 725 masks for family, friends, church members, random people we met, and particular groups, the South Converse Neighborhood Association, Piedmont Care, New Day Clubhouse, Eden Terrace staff and residents, PASOs, and the wider Mexican and Pakistani immigrant community, Hope Center for Children, and 2 more youth residences. We've mailed masks as far as New Mexico, Montana, and especially many to New York City. We couldn't keep track of the crocheted headbands, but we heard over and over how much they were appreciated by medical workers. Please raise your hand if you got 1 or more of our masks in the past year. And if you're at home watching virtually, raise your hand too if you participated in this project. Several of us met via Zoom to talk about where we wanted to go from here. We wanted to continue making masks and serving the groups we have already helped, as well as other organizations we had a connection with. Our next goal was the 1,000 mask mark. We made more masks for Hope Center, Piedmont Care, and Speaking Down Barriers. We already had ties with the Hispanic community. We reached out to our friends in Alianza Spartanburg and Pasos to help more there. We translated our mask instructions into Spanish. Dr. Carolina Weber introduced me to Lupita at her Mexican store in Inman, which serves as a community center for immigrants. She became an advocate and educator on the importance of wearing masks, and we gave her 70 masks in May, the first of many visits. By May 17th, our team topped the 1,000 mark. We began focusing on 2 groups, the Hispanic community and the Safe Homes thrift store. We read about how the pandemic was hitting the Navajo Nation and Nicole suggested we send masks there, so that became our third focus.
When our church was gifted enough elastic to never have to worry about the supply, I cautiously ventured out to Joann's to buy the fabric and accepted their yard of free fabric as well, which would go to mask makers. I began spending about 10 to 20 hours a week making masks while I listened to audiobooks or the radio, and often when I watched the church service on Sunday, I flipped the mask right side out and pinned the pleats to finish them out. I gave all of my clients one mask for free, and they often bought some more for their family. I gave all my mobile meal recipients a mask. I mailed some to the family. They went to Buffalo, New York, several places in Florida. My sister-in-law she just retired, large legal firm, and I made 50 for her lawyers. I sent some to my son and his roommates in Washington, D.C., and my mail lady got one. I even saw one of my masks on someone that during when I was a poll manager. I said, "I know where you got that mask," and she expressed a lot of gratitude for that. I was very grateful that I didn't have to worry about finding places to share all the many masks I was making, because Alice took care of finding people that needed the masks we could provide. She was very organized in letting us know how many masks were requested, and she's told you some of the places that they've gone, and she was just a great cheerleader and encouraged us by keeping track of all the numbers of masks we were creating and letting us know where they were going and how much they were appreciated. And all the thank yous really helped us keep going. Here's a few from some of those people. Deb Williams said, I just got a call from Cindy Hughes, who's on the Eden Terrace staff for the memory care unit my aunt is in. Cindy and some of her day shift staff said, thank you so much, and how cute they were. Thank you very much for what you've provided. And from Tracy Jackson, the Executive Director of Piedmont Care, she said, I just want to share that the design on these UU masks are so cool. What a wonderful idea. They're so flexible and unique. Thank you. From Kent Tinder, he said, hi, I just want to let you know how much of myself and my neighbors appreciate the awesome masks you made for us. The masks look great and feel great. I look forward to seeing you at church in the future. And from the New Day Clubhouse, Patrice Fentiman said, thank you so much. There are not words that can truly express my gratitude for your kindness, thoughtfulness, and community-wide care and love.
And to me, mask making was something important to do. So many folks couldn't access any type of mask or couldn't afford what was available. And we knew how dangerous COVID was, and masks decreased the danger of getting it. But to me, it was also a form of self-care. When I was on furlough from work, then when I retired, we were at home with some long, empty days. And I was often drawn towards TV. Now, I call it stupid TV when there isn't a grand purpose for a particular show, and there's a lot of that out there. I love mysteries, science fiction, house decorating shows. And with sewing masks 4 to 6 hours some days, I could get in a lot of viewing. Now, is anybody else a fan of that goofy detective show Psych that ran from 2006 to 2014? Or the sci-fi show Eureka from 2006 to 2012? They were some of my very favorite binge watches. I felt so virtuous binging on a whole season or a set of seasons while I was watching my shows because I was sewing masks at the same time. Now, from our June 17th happenings, we're busy sewing, meeting our goals, and setting new ones. We've donated 112 more masks to the Navajo Nation, 2,207 in total. When UUCS opened our building to the AA groups, we supplied them with 30 masks to get started to buy. And when they purchased those, it gave us money to buy more fabric, and then we added more to their stock as it was needed. And another 50 went to Lupita's Mexican store, so she'd have a good supply for the 4th of July weekend. This is a year ago now. And she had a sign on the store door in Spanish saying, please wear a mask. and a little box at checkout labeled free masks. Please just take one. And that mask had information with it. She was really committed to helping her clientele stay safe. Alice?
Although we started by sewing masks with 2 layers of cotton and a pocket for a filter, we quickly changed to 3 layers with the filter sewn in. Our masks were the best, safest we could make. Pam found a fantastic polypropylene material. We bought it in bulk, and we used that almost exclusively for filters beginning in June. In July, we donated 300 more masks to Pasos with the Spanish instruction sheet. For July masks, we bought flag-themed fabric. Special fabrics made sewing masks more fun. We bought African-themed fabric, too, another treat for ourselves. My July 13th email to our sewing circle said, "Hey, you all came up with close to 150 masks for the COVID testing event July 13th and 14th at Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. Pam and I gave them out with instructions and also an information sheet on voter registration." I didn't add that we were about to pass out from the heat by the time we ran out of masks. In August, we crossed the 3,000 mark. It was Naomi who put us over the top, and then Joyce gave me her new total for 3,020 altogether. Sometimes it was hard for me to get our sewers to keep up with how many masks they had made, but I knew that the totals were inspiring and would help us keep at it. In August and September, we gave altogether about 350 masks to Total Ministries, to protesters in Greenville, to Little Africa, a township in northern Spartanburg County, and to UUCS members and friends at the drive-through quintuple dip. We gave 240 masks for a Pasos event that included voter registration and census help, flu shots, and more in Boiling Springs.
I love saying, I'm sewing masks for my church sewing circle, and we are giving masks away. I said that to all kinds of strangers who would comment on the theme or the colors of the mask I was wearing at the time. It was my way of saying that there are churches supporting a scientific approach to the pandemic. We took breaks from sewing when we needed to, and sometimes the breaks lasted a week or longer, but most of us came back to it. Psychologist Dr. Barbara Fredrickson wrote about micro moments of positivity. She found in her research that folks who had small positive interactions with others had increased overall well-being and resilience. And doing small good things for other people can also make the other folks happier, and in the case of masks, the other folks healthier, while enhancing our own positive feelings. So mask making gave a positive spin on stuck at home with lots of micro moments of positivity. Now, in October, Nicole made her 1,000th mask. Wow. Yes. And in October and November, we gave 470 masks to several Spartanburg programs, and on Election Day to poll workers, volunteer drivers, and poll watchers. Alice?
Just before Thanksgiving, we hit 2 milestones. Naomi joined Nicole in passing the 1,000 mark. And as a group, we had made 4,700 masks. For December, we made holiday-themed masks for UUCS and the Hope Center for Children. We also decided to make more masks for Native Americans. We bought yards of beautiful Southwest Indian-themed fabric and sewed it up. We sent 180 masks, both children's and adults, plus Naomi's scarves to the Navajo Nation in Arizona, and 324 to the Menominee Nation and Red Cliff Ojibwe Reservation, both in Wisconsin. At the end of the year, we passed the 5,500 mark. Many of us had slowed down our sewing, but Nicole had not. Because she couldn't drive, I took her all her mask-making supplies. I felt like Rumpelstiltskin. I brought her a bag of fabric, filter material, and elastic, and she gave me back a bag of beautiful masks, usually over 80. We did this exchange over and over and over.
All of January, the death toll from the pandemic worsened, and it stayed high all of February. There was almost nothing we could do. But we knew our masks could save lives, so we kept making them and getting them out to the people who need them. As part of our Martin Luther King Day activities, we gave Masks to Total Ministries to the Divinity Center, to the Angels Charge Ministry at Maranatha Free Church. And during January and February, we also gave masks to Lupita's store in Inman, Hope Center for Children, the Divinity Center, which is a residence for homeless men, and Safe Homes. We mailed another box to Menominee Indian tribe in Wisconsin, many made with the beautiful Native American themed fabric that was so much fun to sew. All told, we sent 840 masks to the Indian tribes. And then 90 more masks to pesos, and we splurged on Hispanic and Mexican patterns for these, a total of over 1,000 to the immigrant communities.
Nicole Matthew and Naomi Richardson were recognized as unsung heroes at our UUCS Zoom celebration for their incredible work of love, both making over 1,000. Nicole made over 2,000 face masks, y'all. Amazing. Nicole summed up her work this way: after dusting the cobwebs from my sewing machine, I gingerly set up for the mask-making project. My first thought was, what did I get myself into? It was years since I touched my sewing machine. Naomi graciously gave me the pattern and instructions, and I felt armed for the project. Zoom schooling with my granddaughter took the better part of the morning, but Kaylee was happy to help with the project when I told her why we were doing this. She liked cutting the fabric, elastic, and later on turning the mask right side out. We were slow at first, but once we got the hang of it, we whizzed by, racing with each other. Many times I would wake up in the middle of the night, check the news, and was sad to hear how many souls we lost that day. Getting up and working on the masks was a form of therapy for me. With Alice's help, the masks found a home with so many people all over the country, especially when they were in short supply and oftentimes not even available. It was so rewarding to know I was making a difference, helping so many people and possibly saving a few lives. Making these masks with my granddaughter will be a treasured memory.
At the end of February, President Biden announced a commitment to deliver more than 25 million masks to community health centers. This is 25 million reusable masks to community health centers, as well as food pantries and soup kitchens. That was wonderful news to us mask makers. Free masks were coming to the people we had been making masks for. We were almost done. In March, I made my 1,000th mask, and we distributed 100 St. Patrick's Day masks to Spartanburg regional staff, Hope Center for Children, and UUCS quintuple dip donors. Then 125 masks to Spartanburg District 7's EPIC program, helping low-income families, and 160 masks to the Spartanburg Opportunity Center.
We never envisioned how long we would keep sewing or how the pandemic would go on and on. Making masks has been a labor of love, an act of defiance against the pandemic, and a way of saving lives from the comfort and safety of our homes, a meditation and a soothing distraction from so much tragedy. This work has been many different things to us at different times. We sent our masks as far away as to Muslims in Canada, Native Americans in Wisconsin and Arizona, families in California, Oregon, New York, Florida, as well as to many other groups and organizations in Spartanburg. Our sewing circle ended up making over 6,560 masks, working together while apart and deepening our friendships. We knew we had made a difference. We had saved people from illness and death. We were almost ready to turn off our sewing machines. We wanted to commemorate this year-long project, and someone had the idea to make a quilt with some of the leftover mask fabric. So some of the mask makers sewed 12 by 12 squares to create a quilt. And so my sister, the professional quilter, and I laid out the squares and joined them together with her guidance. She and I finished the quilt last week, and we plan to hang it up in the Wild Hall when the elevator project is complete. When you see it there, we hope you will remember the ways that our UU community worked together, took care of one another, and made a difference during this past year.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Thank you all for gathering today. Thank you, Sydney, for singing. Beautiful. Among our worship team's goals for this summer Sunday services is to consider in a healing way the difficulties of the past year. And I believe that the opportunity to reflect gave the mask makers a sense of moving separately but together through the shadows of the pandemic to a place of accomplishment. And I hope that you all will feel some of that same. For our closing words, it's benediction for people in pandemic. When faced with a challenge such as this, we turn toward one another, or we can turn against. We can ignore the cries of our neighbors, or we can let them cry into the arms of our witness. We can respond with indifference to systemic injustice, or we can commit to its undoing. Good souls, tales will be told of how we responded when this particular hell was visited on our earth. Let us know, and let it be said by generations to come, that when the pain of our separation was revealed, we moved closer to the promised land of our beloved community. Amen, and may it be so. And we have a treat for when Sydney sings for us our closing song, that Susan Prestopino and Lori Conrad are going to sign the words for us. So come, or Susan.
We have spent time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the winding road until we meet again. We have spent time together, and these holy moments give us strength to go down the